This video is really a reflection on my recent return journey to the Isle of Mull and Iona in beautiful Scotland, the land of my birth. And I was so privileged to be able to return on the 21st of September for 7 days. And the weather was glorious, but the trip all round took 880 miles of driving. And we drove through some of the most magnificent scenery of mountains and lochs where time stood still. But this return journey was purely medicinal. To walk in the Atlantic Ocean at the beautiful Calgary beach to try and help heal some leg ulcers on my right leg, which responded really well to the seawater in my previous visit in May this year to my left leg. It got completely healed. But this time round, the ulcers were much deeper. And obviously, the need to bathe in the salt water of the cold Atlantic Ocean was purely medicinal. And I did look a prat with my habit tucked up around my waist. And that thankfully there were only a few visitors there, not many. Like in May, there were hundreds. And though there was a chill in the air, the sun was shining, and I just carried on walking, totally oblivious to anyone. But I discovered something whilst I was there. I was given a book called Earthing by one of our community, dear Heather. And that book opened a whole new lease of life for me. It talked about the healing properties from the earth. It talked about walking barefoot on the sand, in the sea water, on grass with the morning dew, on concrete even, but not on tarmacadam or wood. And I read this book literally non-stop, and I finished it whilst I was there on Iona and Mull. And do you know what? The benefit I received was amazing. It brought an inner calm, an inner peace, and you could sense the currents of Mother Earth coming up through my feet, balancing and cleansing all of my chakras, but more importantly, sending healing life force energy to my mind that was in disquiet because of the pain from the leg ulcers. But you know, I've always been known as the Barefoot Angel Man, running angel workshops when I was working on the circuit from 2001 to 2007. And now I'm the Barefoot Franciscan monk because I work in my bare feet. But I didn't really fully grasp why I was guided to do that until I opened this amazing book, and it talked about the currents from the earth, Mother Earth, Gaia. And those same currents that we receive are given to the plants and the animal kingdom freely to help their growth. But my return journey meant something else. It brought me back to the land of my birth, which gave me an incredible sense of belonging, which I've never really felt before. It was like a spiritual homecoming. And I called on all my Scottish ancestors, my mom, my grandparents, and my relations from Scotland. And I asked them to guide me, because my heart felt complete there. And where we were was just in an idyllic spot. There was not a lot of traffic and not a lot of people. But you connected with nature. And I fell in love with the owners of the property where we were renting. They had 6 beautiful Indian ducks, and one of them I nicknamed Miss Puddle Duck. and she'd come religiously before the other 5 for some dry brown bread. And it was amazing. And then, of course, from 3 every morning, we had the deer starting in the rutting season with their grunts and their growls. And there was a myriad of them, but also we had a little bat that got trapped in the lounge. And trying to get it out was, what a challenge. But we finally did it, having called on St. Francis of Assisi. And then we found a baby toad inside the hallway. And it looked so beautiful. So Brother Rob picked it up and placed it in a place of safety where the ducks and hens wouldn't get it. A spiritual homecoming back to Mother Earth is what you and I need. For it empowers you to reappraise who you are, why you're here. And it raised a lot of questions for me, especially on Iona, where St. Columba brought Celtic Christianity, not Celtic Catholicism, Celtic Christianity that embraced God in the earth, in nature, like Francis of Assisi, like I do it with the members of our community of Interfaith Franciscans. And on that holy isle of Iona, you could connect with the energies of those early monks going right back to the year 400 AD. And the ruins of the abbey that fell into dilapidation after the Reformation were rebuilt by a group of volunteers. And when you walked around it and through it and in it, you could feel, you could sense the prayer, the gift of prayer from the men and women who lived the monastic life there. And on the island there was no transport. Everything was on foot. And it allowed you connect. So off came the shoes, or my sandals, and I walked barefoot. And what an experience. Just to sit, and for the first time in a long time to allow God speak to my heart. Because I was reaching a crossroads of what does God want of me now as I approach my 65th birthday in December. Having done all that my heart guided me to do, been a nurse for so many years, been a therapist, a counsellor, a retreat director, the founder of the Teo community, I'd reached a place where I wasn't sure anymore of what God wanted of me, an older monk. Maybe it's my time to be still and just do the simple things that I've done every day, and to retreat more from the world into that place of silence. So you and I need those times, and I am so grateful for being allowed to visit nature at her best, autumn, with the beautiful colours of the foliage in the trees, and with the odd one falling, with the gentle breeze. And I guess that's like our life, isn't it? The more we are on the path to God, the more we have to shed some of that baggage, as in the falling leaves. Because if we don't shed, then how can we recoup? Like the trees in autumn, they do go bare, but then they go into a place of respite, hibernation. And then suddenly when spring comes, you can see the buds of the new leaves bursting forth. And I guess that's how it will be for me and for you. But my journey to Iona and Mull had a more richer impact this time, even though it was a medicinal visit to help heal my ulcers with the seawater, and bringing back 7 containers filled with seawater. I guess you could say I'm homesick. I've left my heart there because I fell in love with my God through nature. It was such a beautiful place. And now my body's here, and I guess my spirit is too to some degree, but my heart is really back there. Because there I felt an inner peace. No confusion, no demands on my time, no internet access, no telephone. It was a wonderful experience. And it may not be for you, but it was for me. To switch off to the humdrum daily routine and to start on that journey and just follow your heart and go where you're led to be, and then be still and sit with nature, walk with her, allow her feed you, and earthing your mind, body and spirit by standing on her energies in your bare feet is a wonderful experience, and I would recommend it 30 minutes a day, just standing on the grass, on the earth, and invite Gaia's healing energy up through your feet. It brings you an immense feeling of welcome, and it also grounds you, protects you, and strengthens you. So what have I taken away from that wonderful experience? I guess I've taken away an appreciation of knowing more about my birthplace and having that inner sense of longing and belonging. And being allowed to embrace nature at her best and to see Mother Earth and experience her love for God's children. And then when you return home and you turn on the news and you see the atrocities that are still being committed by God's children to one another, it's disheartening, isn't it? Because you know everything we have is on loan. We own nothing. Okay, we may have spent hard-earned money on buying clothes and a watch and a car, maybe a house and whatever, but we don't take it with us, do we? Everything really is on loan. And I guess we're judged on how we've treated our belongings, whether they've owned us or we have owned them. As an enclosed contemplative Franciscan monk, we're encouraged to have a spirit of detachment from earthly things. To use them, yes, but not to crave them. I have friends, and every electrical gadget that comes on the market, they must have. I've got another friend, and all the latest sports cars that appear, the cravings are almost salivating. You can see them. They're obsessed. They get into debt so as to have a moment's pleasure, and then they're shackled with a burden too heavy to bear. That is not the journey of a soul. You and I have been given the most amazing gifts that are free. The gift of life, the gift of being in love, the gift of nature, the gift of the sun, the moon, the stars, the wildlife, the animal kingdom. They bring us so much pleasure, and yet the majority of mankind don't even see it. They don't hear the birds sing. Some wouldn't even know what a parrot looked like, or a toad or a frog, because it's not part of their journey. For me, going back home to beautiful Scotland and the Hebrides was very much part of my journey, because it allowed me revisit my own values and prioritize what is important, what is essential, what is necessary for me as I progress on my spiritual path to God. I recommend you take time out, and if ever you get the chance, go to Iona and just stand still. And the moment you get on the ferry, there's a short ferry journey across from the mainland of the island of Mull to the little port on Iona. It's a foot passenger ferry, but you can see the abbey in the distance, and as soon as you arrive and place your feet on terra firma on the island of Iona, there is a change in you. You become aware that it is something more than just an island. It is a sacred land. It is a peaceful land. It is an island of prayer. And it rubs off on you. And it touches you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me share with you a part of my spiritual homecoming to Mull and to Iona. And I pray that one day you will have the same opportunities as I have had, and you will be able to see the most magnificent mountains, the most beautiful lochs and lakes, and walk in the beautiful Atlantic Ocean in crystal blue water, and experience the sea eagle, the deer, and nature, and allow them come to you and touch you. It is a precious gift that awaits you and all mankind. Namaste, and bless you.